In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
K98TALK is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we're expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at advertise@k98talk.org. The leader in talk radio on the Internet, right here on K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Oh, welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy. Don't expect us to admit a mistake. We're paying off election debts to those on the take. Attorney General's lying even while
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
Welcome, everybody, to the Post Show with Rick Robinson and other hosts of different shows here at K98 Talk as we take a look at the GOP debate that just took place tonight at Milwaukee Theater in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Take it away, Rick.
All right, folks, good evening. This is a very special episode of America Off the Rails. We are entitling this one the Post-Debate Wrap-Up Show. I have joined with me this evening the grouchy one from the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show, airing every Wednesday night here on K98 Talk, and also JD and Stacy from Game On and Bloody Marys and Broadsheets, heard here 3 times a week, and on that WNJC out in Philly. They're with me weekly as well. They're on Fridays, I'm on Thursdays, but hey, we're all one big happy family. How are you guys doing this evening?
Oh, family hug.
Thanks for having us, boys.
Yeah.
Hey, look at
I'm happy to report that the debate drinking game would not have gone well tonight because Trump didn't really get to talk.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
It's not.
We should have had a Kasich drinking game because he couldn't seem to shut up.
I know, he wouldn't shut up.
I don't know, Steve. For Kasich, I might have had to bust out some of that stuff that's only legal in Colorado because, that's about the only way I can put up with that guy. I'm saying.
My personal opinion, Kasich should move over to the Democratic debate and be the moderate Democratic challenger to take on Hillary.
There you go. There you go. I like it with his little socialist approach to the bailouts.
You mean his socialist approach to everything?
Well, okay, we didn't have to go there, but yeah, he kind of does lean that way, doesn't he?
Yeah. I put out one tweet during the debate that had anything to do to the debate and said, is Kasich annoying anyone else as much as he's annoying me? And it got like 50 retweets.
Well, that's
in
about right.
seconds.
Yeah, I have to admit, it's like every time anybody got asked a question, he just managed to try to jump right in front of it. It was just kind of really all around annoying, especially when you realize that at this point he probably should have just hung it up and gone back into whatever his job is.
He should have had a podium right next to Lindsey Graham's and Pataki's.
Oh, I didn't watch the undercard debate, guys.
Oh, neither one of them were there either. Pataki and Graham completely uninvited from all the debates.
Yeah. The only prediction I made for this debate is that Pataki and Graham wouldn't be there in any capacity.
Well, you were spot on.
Yeah. Well, why don't we start with what do we think of the moderation of this debate as compared to the clown show on CNBC?
Well, I think maybe the backroom deals paid off. We actually got to hear substantive questions.
Do you think that it might have gone more that way to begin with? Or you think the moderators really changed their tone?
I think that it probably would have gone more in that direction, but maybe not full tilt like it was.
I, for one, was glad that it didn't have the feel of fight night.
Exactly.
I mean, their candidates were confronting each other to some degree over differences on policy views and other things, but it seemed more respectful, I guess, and in my mind, less personal. How about you, JB?
Like watching old people do the nasty while watching the grass grow.
Stop it.
That's about where I was with the moderations and the questions. You know what? It was what you wanted and needed it to be, but because of what you wanted and needed it to be, it couldn't have lived. I found a great dichotomy to tonight's debate. I come from a financial background. I come from I mean, that's what I do for a living. And, I was looking forward to it, but I found myself cheering at the last debate, with them pushing back and smacking around the jerk-offs who were the moderators. In this particular case, I thought the tone was fine. I thought the questions were okay. I thought the bald-headed Howie Mandel-looking schmeckle jerk-off who wasn't Jerry Seib, the British run. I thought the only time I thought the tone there was wrong was he would really let on his face show when he was disappointed with the audience and they were clapping and all this other nonsense. But I thought from a wonky policy perspective, it was really good. I think this is the second debate in a row where if you're looking at it as a scorecard, I think Marco Rubio looks like a very enticing president of the United States. I thought Carly Fiorina, I don't know whether it's her personally or her campaign. I love the fact that she's going to be heard no matter what happens on the stage. What I would have liked to have seen her do was shove it up Trump's ass. When he's like, this broad, she's got her panties and her Snickers, and why she always got to be saying stuff because look at me, and we're going to talk about Mexicans.
And her pumps are huge.
Oh, yeah. But I thought I thought the financial policy stuff. If you really want to get wonky on it, I thought from just the first note I took in the debate was on Fiorina and her talking about 0% baseline budgeting. And I know nobody gives a damn about that, and their eyes are all over in the back of their head, but really talking about anything else in relations to the budget and shrinking the size of government and entitlement reform or anything, you can't start without starting from that metric. And I think that this is the difference that you're seeing, excluding Kasich and Bush, who I think actually put a nail in their own coffin tonight. I think any dollar they spend beyond tonight is just a detriment to themselves, and they're going to put themselves in a hole. But I think that tonight in conjunction with Paul Ryan, assuming.
Okay, terrific.
There you go. Woo! This is what we call train wreck radio, folks. Woo!
All right, I have no idea what we're going to do for the next 59 minutes and 45 seconds. Remember, folks, we're not just here live randomly at different times and hours on different stations on the radio dial, but if you want to find us consistently, you should go down to the sheriff's office because evidently there's warrants being sworn out.
Oh, my God. Crazy's back.
Oh, yeah, it's all. Hey, Leonard Skinner, make sure you get up extra early and put 4 packs of Marlboro Reds so you have a stroke and drop dead on the way there. You heard me, Jekyll. Swear a warrant off against that.
Somebody just needs to lay off the vodka.
Oh my God, we have breaking audio from our new jerk-off stalker.
3 simple words. I am gay.
And Mark, thank you for providing us with that audio. So.
Oh.
That wasn't Mark the musician, was it?
Who the hell is this, and how'd y'all get in my room?
We're back, guys. I actually managed to finally figure out what the heck happened with my connection. So, yay.
Okay, you want to know something? Hold on a second. Anybody who has a kid awake right now is a delinquent parent. So let me be the first to say this right now tonight. This is I mean, this is monkey ball racking around the rinkety ding dong.
The debate.
I can honestly say I've never heard that before.
And then we tell you something,
You've never listened to our show, have you?
That's the cleaned up version of it. You want to know what though? Here's the funny part. They were talking about Putin. Putin better be careful because after tonight's debate, Kasich and Bush, I think, are most aptly suited to run for president of. K98TALK would like to welcome you to Re-Education Radio, brought to you by your very public present candidates, John Kasich and George Bush. George Bush. What the hell's this idiot's name? Jeb.
Where's my friend Boyd when that gets played? I mean,
oh my God.
Everybody elastic around.
No, with a name like Jeb, it's kind of more like Everybody awake now?
Hey, don't.
I thought it would be more like
don't
the clown
diss the
horn.
General Lee's horn, dude.
Rick, you have officially lost all control. JD has the soundboard.
Oh.
That's all right.
So, in all seriousness,
no, I will not make out with you on the radio. I won't do it.
I can hear JD objecting already. But in terms of, because this was the wonkish, as JD said, kind of debate that I've been looking for, where I actually can hear the candidates talk and we're not talking about somebody's looks or something stupid. So with that being said, whose tax plan did you like the best?
Oh, I actually took notes about all of them.
Well, I'm a total tax freak, so.
Tax plan, I actually like Huckabee's the best because he's the only candidate pushing the fair tax.
Well, you want to know something? I'm glad that you said that because that was one of the things I think that this debate set up that the CNBC debate was supposed to. Because if you are going to vote in the Republican primary and you were watching tonight's debate, Donald Trump actually made a very salient point. And he actually said near the end of the debate, each and one of our tax plans for everybody here on the stage is miles ahead of what Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party is going to offer you, and he's right about that. But when you break down and take notes about the tax plans, as similar as these candidates are in so many respects, they want to get to the same place, but they want to get there so differently. I thought that the exchange between Marco Rubio and Rand Paul over the $1 trillion in quote-unquote tax credits and the $1 trillion in military spending and really being a hawk on the budget, I thought that was fascinating. I really wish that Rand would have explained a little bit more the penny plan, which I think is a great, great entitlement reformer. Go ahead.
Hang on, I can tell you a little bit more about that. Because he's actually taken that idea from Jack Kemp. That was Kemp's idea 20 years ago to balance the budget.
No, I understand that, but what I liked is I thought that there were a lot of good answers. One of the things that Stacey and I are railing about all the time is that the Republicans don't know how to politic, and ours in general don't know how to politic. You know what I heard tonight? I heard another home run answer by our own Stevie Wonder, Ben Carson. I'd like to thank all the people in the world today, and the children, and my tax plan. But when they smacked him, because I did think that there was one little gotcha moment, because what they do is Carson said, the Bible says tithe 10%. So Carson's a churchy, and he uses tithing as an example of a flat tax of 10%. Not saying it should be 10%. So when they asked him the question in taxes today, of course they used the word tithe because they wanted to debate. That's right, and they want to debate a conservative for getting into the pew and not into the fiscal professor chair. And you want to know what? He didn't take it because what he said is, when I speak about tithing, by tithing I mean proportionality is what he said. And I thought that was great because you want to know what? He took it right out of no, I'm not a Jesus nut into proportionality, taxes, fairness. And I thought their answers tonight, even how different their plans were good. I think that they're becoming better candidates, except for Bush and Kasich, and Rand Paul should stop taking Ambien before.
How does Bush think that his tax plan is best if it's supposed to accomplish everything he says it will accomplish, but doesn't cut the tax rates down as low as anybody else's plan?
Stay out the bushes.
I mean, that's my take on anything Bush has to say.
Well,
did you like my use of your hashtag, brother?
Do we actually know the fifth agency that Cruz is going to cut? Because I heard
you said Commerce twice.
You said Commerce twice. He kind of had a little Rick Perry there.
What is it with Texas? What is it? I'm going to tell you something. What I want is I want the Texas peyote that comes out of the cactuses down there. Mm-hmm. Because you have okay, after Rick Perry going, and there are three things that I want to do. I want to kiss babies, I want to love Jesus, and I mean that was the whole crux of his campaign, and he was over. So you would think if you were a politician who is running from the state of Texas, especially if you look like Count Chocula, the way that Cruz does, you would want to avoid that moment. But he had a commerce.
He had a commerce.
Count Chocula.
And I thought it looked like Blueberry.
I was hoping it was the Department of Education.
Who
does?
Along with energy.
Well, you know what it is about Cruz, and I had always blown this off as pundits kind of giving him a rougher go than most. But I will tell you something. I like it, and it's a disadvantage. There's nothing that Cruz kind of won't disagree or say. But Senator Cruz, that'll increase the deficit. But that's okay because of ISIS. But ISIS this. Don't worry about ISIS. No, I mean, it's just he's
well, that's why he was a debate champion in college, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why he was Solicitor General.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, he can go to either side of the argument.
Mm-hmm. But when you take a look
See the
at
clip of pulling up outside the arena.
I'm sorry?
The clip of Jeb pulling up outside of the arena before the debate.
Oh, I missed that.
I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah, he was tooting the horn on his car.
Get out of here.
The little wind-up toy he was sitting on top of.
Nice.
I get it. That was a clown car joke.
Ah.
Wow, the boomerang effect. For the head, and then it comes back and gets you in the neck.
Hold on a second. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to go to cerebral radio. I'm going to tell a joke, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that it kind of sounds like when I'm saying it.
I bring nothing to the table.
However, it going to done boomerang back and get inside your head, and then you be going just all over the place and just...
Hey. Just because you're on my show does not mean you can talk like me. Enough of that.
Oh, hey, and speaking of dumbasses, they've got Kasich on right now in the post debate.
Oh, we have.
Did you just call JD a dumbass?
No, we have video of Kasich in the post debate right now.
Virgin.
All right, thanks, John.
Well, because he didn't talk enough during the debate.
Yeah, but you know something? He didn't. You know, he's been
talking about two 16-year-old daughters.
Well, I mean that's the only thing I paid attention to. That's kind of when I woke up. I'm like, oh wait, two 16-year-old daughters. I've seen a movie like this before. But the
Woody Allen flick.
Yeah. Well, the one thing about Kasich is, you know, Kasich's always talking about his time in Congress and in Washington, and he's wrapping himself in the mantle of Ronald Reagan. And one of the things he did not have tonight is John Kasich was not a happy warrior. He just wasn't. He has
been so angry in he's like all yelly John Kasich.
All
screechy John Kasich. Both debates he's been this way. I'm like, who are you and what have you done with the governor of Ohio?
Do you know how much mileage there is in that? Can we call him Yelly like the old rapper from St. Louis, Nelly? Oh, what the hell?
I don't know, but he's just all like screechy John Kasich.
No, I'm gonna
no smiles, sweating like a pig. I mean, it's just not a good look for him.
Yo, everybody talk amongst themselves. I'm going to find the Nelly song. Go ahead. Talk about the debate, goddammit. Talk about it was an economic
how did you
debate.
Like the little fisticuffs we got.
Shut up, damn it! I'm talking. You're versed in the Cali Fiorina brought who don't shut up with her face. I brought my Investors Business Journal, my Wall Street Daily, and I don't have one for cock the fire.
I can't finish it because I almost cursed and I had to stop myself.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, what did you think about the little kerfuffles around immigration?
No, actually, I thought it was great. I like to see those kind of kerfuffles myself because I want to know exactly where these SOBs stand. That's why I haven't selected a candidate yet.
I thought Cruz won that one.
Oh, of course.
He's not real specific, I guess, about what exactly he would do, but in terms of dismantling the Democratic narrative around it, I think he won.
Right.
I think Jeb Bush tried and failed miserably.
He and Kasich both failed miserably on immigration tonight.
Speaking of Kasich, going back to the old Yelly thing for a minute, can we just put him down like the dog from Old Yeller now, please, and be done with it?
Wait,
He's
hold on.
not dropping out. He's not dropping out any more than Christie's dropping out.
Cry hell, I'm ready to throw a party.
I feel like an old perverted man. I'm almost there. Who are we calling Jelly?
Yelly,
Kasich.
John Kasich.
Yelly. Hold on. What are the chances this will play without the ad going first? Hold on. Let's see. Let's pray here. Well, hold on. No. I ain't getting caught like this. Hold on. Keep talking amongst yourselves.
Looks like some
Shut up,
folks have
bitch!
had
Hold
it
on!
with their airline.
Shut up! I'm sorry. All right. Talk amongst your hell. I'm going back to this.
Well, I mean, how do you think Donald Trump sounded during his time to explain what he would do regarding immigration?
Him, I would have liked to have heard talk about two 16-year-old girls.
Seriously?
No.
Look, I honestly, I don't know how other than disincentivizing you get all the illegals. Well, you're still not going to get them all, but you get a large group of them to leave if you quit giving them free stuff. I agree with that.
No, I agree with that part of his platform without a doubt. I'm like even far right of that. I'm like, stop doing ESL in the schools.
Let me tell you something. He's right on. He's definitely right on Eisenhower. That's a great description because I am tired. I am tired of being told I am tired of being told that we can't send anybody back. And I've been waiting for one of these candidates. As a matter of fact, Stacey, your father is the one, especially if he's in chat. Sandy knows the operation, the name of that operation by Eisenhower, because he corrected me when we were on the air one night. I thought that was
Which
good.
JD always enjoys.
Well, no. I mean, your dad's really smart. But one of the things that I think that Trump was 100% correct about, and we're going to say what we say about the Donald, but we need to be intellectually honest when he hits on a point. And I thought one of his best moments in that debate, and one of the things he was 1,000,000% right about, was currency manipulation, and how currency manipulation honestly is weaponized and militarized by other great powers that we try and do, a straight business with. And between the way that we are hurting ourselves with our own currency manipulation through quantitative easing and how that's affecting the price of the dollar and the cost of goods, and when you combine that with the fact that we honestly allow with no consequences, whether it's China or even France when they started to free fall, Germany to some extent because they have some worries now. When you allow these central governments to really centrally control their economies, while you're sitting there on the back end hurting yourself from an economic point of view, he is completely correct. Currency manipulation by major currency powers in this world is something that we don't talk about. I think that we are as negligent about that as we are with cybersecurity, and I thought it was a good point. Look, he got his wall and his Eugen, and he spray painted his hair an extra color of orange for the debate. That's fine. I will say what I've been saying about him. I think that in each debate his performance gets a little weaker. I think it is very much because he is a candidate of platitudes where there isn't a lot behind what he has to say because, he goes back to great, this, me, I, what have you. But I do think that Donald Trump has made every one of these candidates a better presidential candidate. It may have taken them longer, but in my opinion, it's forced these candidates to figure out how to break out of the noise. And if you can break out through this circus, you should have no problem throat punching, not literally, figuratively, of course, Hillary Clinton in the general.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about, assaulting women. Hillary had that joke today.
Oh no! You listen. Listen. When it comes to what, I'm just going to be quiet.
Wait,
really?
You're going to be quiet?
I give that 30 seconds.
There was such a I know guys that pay $50 extra joke in there somewhere, but I just.
She might give you the money back if you're quiet.
Here's my thoughts on Trump, and it goes back to something that Dr. Arrington said when he was on my show with me a few months back, and it mirrors a lot of what JD just said. Trump, I think, has caused the candidates that are actually serious about becoming president to step up their game, to get past his noise. And I think that is the one purpose that he's probably serving fairly well. I do like a little bit of what he says about immigration, because I think if we would focus on not giving them free crap, that a lot of them would basically go home on their own. But now for my one other question. Someone had mentioned, because I was listening on radio, you had mentioned that he spray painted his hair an additional coat of orange. Does that make him officially a Trumpkin now? I'm just asking.
It makes him a Trumpa-Loompa.
Okay, just
Trumpa-Loompa?
Or did his hair just get tagged by some illegal kid with a can of spray paint?
Oh,
I gotta
grouchy!
say,
I
though,
like
I
that.
really think in terms of everything, with the exception of some of the conversation around with TPP, which he actually had a defense for the comment that somebody made that China isn't in the deal. TPP is a docking agreement, and afterwards, with a majority vote, anyone can come into the deal. So that's a potential. And being concerned about China is actually a valid thing, but he didn't know that. But in terms of talking about trade and some of the failures in the TPP agreement and what maybe better ideas around free trade looked like, he had some good points. And certainly, depending on your views on immigration, you may want to put your arms around him and hug him, and you may look at him. I mean, there was a lot of booing in the audience, too. I think this is an issue that to a large extent, many conservatives are still divided on in terms of what is the actual solution for the people that are here. And, I don't claim to have the right one.
Go home.
I don't know.
Go
but
home.
I think other than those two things, I think he was kind of a little outclassed by the other people on the stage, especially around foreign policy.
Oh, yeah.
And the tax plan.
I do.
He did not have a good answer to why the flatter tax structures, the fewer deductions, et cetera, closing loopholes is wrong.
No, and the funny thing is I was surprised he didn't go after Carson because Carson definitely has boned up, but he left himself a little vulnerable. But look, the one thing about Trump is Trump's immigration plan basically is...
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
And that's it. And drag him out and get him gone. But I think that he does make a good point about, listen, we either are a nation of laws or we are not. We can get to the practicalities, of all of it later. I think that, and I think another reason that Kasich and Bush are on the outs. I mean, take a look at Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio probably at his heart, soul, and core has a more moderate belief for what you would refer to or what's referred to in Washington as a comprehensive approach to immigration reform. And the reason I say that is he walked so far down that plank with the Gang of Eight that Marco Rubio he has it again now, but he had, when he first came into the Senate, he had so much goodwill and political capital with conservatives, and he was willing, knowingly, this man is a very smart politician, to burn a lot of that, trying to get that Gang of Eight proposal done. You don't hear him walking down those hallways anymore. And when you take a look at Kasich or you take a look at Bush, who tended to try and make, what in a Republican primary, now you can argue about it or not, in a Republican primary, some of their stances are going to be seen by some primary voters like an amnesty. I live in a place, Stacey makes this point to me, maybe I'm jaded because of it. I live in a place where I live in the home of Ellis Island. I live in the most beautiful, diverse immigrant community on the planet. Everybody on the planet lives where I live. But you want to know what? Most of these people came here legally. The amount of illegal immigration that has settled in the greater New York area, it's stifling. Because you sit there and you look, where I live, you can't not know people who came here from other countries. And you know them and you know their story. And you want to know what? It is not easy to become a citizen of this country. And if you do it legally, you have to want to do it. And I think that there's a lot of, not just on the Republican side, I think in the country writ large, where, I call it economic anxiety, call it what you want. There are only so many X dollars to go around. And either we start paying attention to people who are citizens of this country, and we start considering ourselves a nation of laws that we're not going to allow to be violated, otherwise then Trump's right. Where are we going to end up?
No, and I definitely agree with the statement. And when you look what's going on in Europe, it scares the living daylights out of me. I'm not saying that necessarily any perspective on this is wrong. I think it's something that on the right we're going to have to come to terms with because we're certainly,
I agree.
As a group of conservatives or conservatarians, I don't think most of us are going to support. Support any kind of amnesty
would you
without
agree?
Certainly deep cuts to the kind of social programs that Donald Trump is talking about.
Would you agree with me?
To reduce incentives at minimum?
Would you agree with me that most Republican primary voters are probably, with the way they think about immigration, between Donald Trump and every candidate on the stage, excluding Kasich and Bush? I think that's probably where the sentiments run. I think that it runs.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's yeah, I would say that's a good continuum. No, I think Kasich and Bush are too close to the Democratic perspective. It's an act of compassion. It's an act of love. If I hear compassionate conservatism one more time, conservative ideals actually in and of themselves are quite compassionate in terms of believing in the individual, the right of the individual to make choices, and in the potential of each and every single individual. The Democratic ideal is much more, you need to be taken care of. I don't want to be taken care of. Leave me the hell alone. So, I think we've got to do a better job of selling that overall. But like I said, I think really in that whole debate, Cruz won the day with the philosophy and how you push back on the narrative of the left.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think that if you had a scorecard, to my mind, it was either Cruz or Rubio, because I mean Rubio, and you and I had the opportunity to see him in that to get to see him in that small lunch avail we had a few months ago. And when Bartolomeo had spoken about Hillary Clinton and the experience question, I knew that it was a tee-up. I mean, I'm not saying that she did it as a tee-up, but I said to myself, I bet you he's going to go right into that stump in about 21st Century America, 21st campaign. And I think that, look, I think that when this guy talks, and I think that when this guy strikes back, and I think that when he does hit back, I think he looks pretty damn presidential. I like Ted Cruz too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have nothing wrong with Cruz. Except that he looks like Count Chocula, and anybody who says he doesn't is lying to me.
Well, as I think about the majority time during the debate, I'm going to look forward to the breakdown, because as far as impressions go, Cruz and Rubio and Fiorina and Kasich, because he was Yelly Kasich.
Oh, I'm glad you brought it up. Go ahead. Now you queued me up. Go ahead. You just queued me into Yelly. Go ahead. Keep going.
But he other than those four really seemed to get the lion's share of the time. I think Rand Paul got more salient points and was less yelly than he has been.
He was a movement conservative tonight.
He was a movement conservative on the stage, and I think he had some good points, and I think there's some things that supporters of his may push the eventual nominee on, but at the same time, you really had kind of three standout people there in terms of controlling the time on the stage. And the interesting thing to me about Fiorina, and to some extent I'm hearing this theme also from Cruz and also from Rubio a little bit. This is not about Democrat and Republican. It's really more fundamental like that. And if you listen to all of Carly Fiorina's comments, they're things we heard loud and clear from one of the smartest political historians we know, along with somebody who was knee-deep in the Obamacare debate, and that's Jay Cost.
Mm-hmm. Well,
she is taking a page directly out of his book at the presidential election level.
Did you realize, before we bring Rick and Grouchy back in here, before they just hang up the phone or just leave us, you do realize that you actually, even though his campaign was killed tonight, you did come up with, we now have a John Kasich theme song, right?
We do?
Yeah. What did you call him? Yelly?
Yelly.
Okay. Beaker, get to work on this. Let's see if this thing...
Hot and so hot and hurt. So hot and oh.
Oh yeah, some Nelly, son.
Amnesty, get a little bit of amnesty.
Oh my God, I can't believe you know this song. Good God, put your clothes back on. God damn it.
Holy cow. Hey, back
Grouchy,
up
I'm impressed.
No, wait, hold on a second. Grouchy, get jiggy with it, baby. Come on, we're playing underneath, baby. Get loose with the lyrics. Go ahead.
Look, if you want me to write the whole song out, you got to give me an hour, okay? I can take Kasich sound bites and fill that whole song in an hour.
Stacy. You know what you find out on live radio after midnight? You find out things about people. What's that? You find out things about people. You know what we found out? Grouchy's a freak, baby.
Hey,
I never would have thunk it.
Now, no palms.
Grouchy, that straight up freak, baby. We got the movies coming back. Get out your 8mm, get it on the wall, and say hello to K98's Don't Talk Naked Grouchy, baby.
But hey, look, JD, you made the point about immigration a couple minutes ago, and these guys keep talking about immigration reform, and you said that it's not easy to become a citizen here.
No.
I want to hit on that for a second. I don't think it should be easy. This is the greatest damn place in the world to come and live, and we shouldn't just open the gates for anybody to walk in and just say, oh, hey, I want to be here. I mean, they need to be able to contribute to society. They need to be givers, not takers, and they need to be willing to assimilate.
Well, you have to be willing to contribute to society. I mean, because you can't have you can't have an anticipated outcome for everybody. But like you said, look, I mean, come over here, put the jersey on, and be a member of the team. I mean, that's all I'm asking. Get out the old American playbook and get with it. I mean, that might sound simplistic, that might sound nationalistic, but that's where I am on it. I mean, this country offers the opportunity. This country offers greater opportunity to the average person from any part of the planet than any other society that has ever existed in the history of recorded man and before that. And the only thing we ask of you in order to come here and seek those same opportunities as we do, as is your God-given right from wherever you are from. Here's about 10 or 15 laws that you have to obey to get here and speak some English and assimilate. And if you do that, sky's the limit. But no, we're going to kill ourselves through political, cultural suicide.
Yeah, well, that's what they're trying to do right now.
You guys bring up a good point. You guys bring up a good point, but you're kind of leaving something in the dust. The simple fact of the matter is, our current administration and the majority of the D.C. government doesn't want any of the things that we're talking about right now. Because if
you're absolutely right about that.
If they did, they would have already been done. What they want is the same thing that Obama's warned us about since weeks before he took office. It's to fundamentally transform America. He's pretty much there if you really want to start looking.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. The Chamber of Commerce, the Obama administration, and the GOP establishment are all basically on the same page for different reasons about why they want our immigration system to remain broken.
Yes.
Now that we know you're a freak, now that we know that you're a freak, when you just come on and go, yes, we don't know what you're doing.
Some things are not fit for radio, so we don't need to know.
K98 after dark, baby. Stacy. Stacy. Did we drop Stacy?
I don't see her flashing back and forth anymore.
No, I had to cough.
Okay,
how long does it take you to cough?
JD?
Yeah. You get a little bit of scratchy throat.
Oh, Jesus. Listen, if you're going to do it right. You can't. Hold on a second. All right, here we go, Grant. Oh, no, I got the wrong song. Oh, no, I got the porno music. Forget Nelly. Screw Nelly.
Screw Nelly.
All right, let me take a look. I thought, I think that if you're going to have, I think the post-debate polls, I think you'll see a continuation of a little slide from Trump. I don't think you're going to see a free fall, but I think you're going to see a chip. I think Carson probably stays where he is, and I think I think
Carson I think they both start to share some of the pie with Rubio and Cruz.
No, I was going to say I think Rubio and Cruz, I think they definitely come up, but you have to understand something. You don't know. When you there's so many people on stage, you could have Paul, you could have Rubio and Cruz, pull from Rand, you could have them pull from X, pull from Y, pull from here, pull from Kasich, pull from Bush, because, like I said, the people's seconds and thirds in this race are counterintuitive. You have people who are Jeb, Kasich, or Trump supporters who number twos are solidly Rubio or Cruz or Fiorina or Carson. So, I still think you got a little bit of the pom-pom season going on, but I think you see Rubio and Cruz come up. I think Fiorina keeps herself in the conversation. I do. Because she's tough enough. She can stand on that stage with all those guys, and damn it, she's going to be heard. I like her answers. What did I – hold on. I like I like the fact I wanted to call Jay Cost when she went into Obamacare being about crony capitalism. I thought she had a very good answer on health care because they tried to push back on her, the moderators did, and she went into state-managed risk pools that I thought was a very good answer on the health care question.
Well, and what don't you understand? Like, let's try something we haven't tried yet. Free market principles in terms of health care.
Oh,
that means based on good consumer information, I'll pick a doctor or a hospital based on their cost and their general outcomes.
I'm going to pick mine from Angie's list.
Oh, my God. But, I mean, all I'm saying is, seriously, you go in, you look up more information about the car you're going to buy than the doctor you go to.
That's true.
And it completely insulates the consumer from the consequences of their choice, the way it's currently set up. So when you talk about free market principles, you're talking about what happened with LASIK surgery. Okay? It used to be $5,000 an eye, and there were some significant risks attached. You know what? Now it's $500 an eye, and it works for almost everybody. Very few complications.
And if you have $1,000 and they make a mistake.
More efficient, more effective, and less expensive. Why don't we try that across the board in medicine? What a concept.
Because it makes too much damn sense. You know this.
42% of the cost of any doctor or hospital is in forms and government regulations that they have to comply to in terms of billing and everything else. 42% of their cost is tied up in compliance.
But that's not just. But you know, that was a point that Cruz was making, and so was Rand Paul, on the size of regulation, because that's not a metric that just holds true for the healthcare industry. I mean, regulation and cost of compliance is basically strangling most businesses. And again, let's go back to Carly Fiorina, and I'm not this wasn't even it wasn't even planned, but I mean, some of her answers were, hold on, I'm going to cough and have a. I coughed. The stroke's on its way. When she said, when Fiorina, I just lost my train of thought. When she said that she has seen the beginnings of socialism in the United States and that it was Dodd-Frank, she's so right about that. You know, she's completely right about that. You know, I used to work in M&A, in mergers and acquisitions, and before that I was a trader. And you take a look. I mean, you take a look at what the cost of compliance now is in investment.
My God, are you still talking?
Yes. If you take a look at the cost of compliance in investment banking, I mean, the numbers that are put on top of the deals are just staggering. I mean, it's like an inflated price point just because of the regulation. So I mean, I think that's a stranglehold on the entire economy, not just healthcare.
I think it is, but I think when you're talking about a service.
$600 hammers, most of that's quality assurance.
But I mean, when you're talking about healthcare as a service that is needed by pretty much everyone in the population, and it's really critical to the health and well-being of the country and the workforce, and the country's overall health has a big impact on its economic performance, believe it or not. When you're talking about that, why would you want to bake in 42% of the costs in regulation against government? Do you understand how much less expensive it would be if you just went to the doctor and there was a price list? I'm not saying that medicine should be regulation free. I'm saying insurance in the middle has completely insulated the consumer. And when she talks about free market medicine, we have examples of where it works, and it's pretty easy to see what the outcomes are.
And by the way, the four of us want to stop for a second, and we want to thank, honestly, some of the smartest and most loyal listeners in radio. If anybody's got a chat room open and takes a look at it, not only is it always full of smart conversation, there is some phenomenal stats and statistics and numbers that have been flying through this chat room on varying topics since we've been on the air. And I just wanted to stop and thank everybody who's here with us live right now, because I mean, I'm fascinated by it. I mean, we are so blessed to have such a smart listening audience.
That's why JD's been so quiet. He's been eyeballing the stats in the chat room.
Oh yeah, you know what? Quiet.
Yeah, I got quiet when he started talking about Trump slipping on a pole. I had to go throw up.
Oh.
What is your major malfunction, numbnuts?
Ugh. I slip on Poles, I slip on Czechs, I slip on Ukrainians, I slip on people of all nationalities. Trump, Mexican, wall, huge, my wife, lesbian, box.
So who do you think won the foreign policy piece?
Peace?
Oh, Rubio.
Trump's wife is definitely a piece. Foreign policy piece? Gotta tell you something. I thought some of the strongest language on Putin and Russia, and you know what? Maybe this is just how it fell. I'm going to sound like I'm hawking this broad. And she got a huge applaud line for it. I thought Fiorina was very strong on Russia, Putin, and foreign policy.
Just think Rubio's more polished, though.
He was really good, but I mean, I'm just looking at how I have the notes. I mean, that was one of the things I went out of my way to make a note on. She was strong on Russia, strong on Putin, and got a huge applause line out of it. I mean, that to me it's sold. And like I said at the beginning of it, I think this is the second debate in a row. I think Marco looks pretty presidential to me.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I don't necessarily think that he's my man, at least not at the top of the list, but he definitely is looking the part here recently.
How does the MSM? Okay, so to our mind, I think we agree. What we saw tonight was a gigantic juxtaposition to the old white crackers that the Democratic Party have put up for president. I mean, they got Uncle Speedo.
Mr. Vargas, the colored people are yelling. Are you in charge here?
You got Kankles over there, who's got the FBI crawling further up her ass than Bill's ever been, and you look on this. I'm sorry,
but not Petraeus.
But and so you see from our point of view that you have this fantastic, future. You have this future of the party, and then you have these old fossils, that are basically fought in dust on the other side of the equation. How does the mainstream media play tonight's debate in your minds?
Also ran. They'll play the whole thing as Fox served up softballs and they delivered big hits and it was a huge love fest and they'll play it all down.
I thought you were going to say, you know what? Doesn't Also Ran sound like the name that Rand Paul would name his kid? Also Rand Paul.
Yeah, that'd be his son, right?
Oh my God, something like that. Rick, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just laughing my tail end off, so I figured I should.
Hi, I'm Senator Rand Paul, and this is my son. He's also Rand Paul.
Also could be gender neutral. You guys are kind of sounding a little sexist right now. I'm just saying.
Well,
3 simple words. I am gay.
This is an equal opportunity show.
Vaginas.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Vaginas.
I can't breathe. Oh,
it's post debate analysis with a hint of mescaline meets a Japanese game show.
Excuse me a second. Speaking of sexist, would you get your ass in the kitchen and make me a sandwich? I'm hungry over here.
Ooh, I like that. Good for you. Good for you, Grouchy. Good Lord. Good Lord. Good Lord. Good Lord.
Hey, in about 2 minutes, it's going to come flying around the corner at my head, but...
Oh, I would. There was one thing that I wanted to hit the moderators on. Cavuto, who I actually happen to like and I thought did a great job, was actually factually wrong on one point. When he was speaking about the Bank of America example with Ted Cruz and whether or not he would allow another financial institution to fail. And I have to tell you something. Full disclosure. JD, maybe I'm bad luck. I was on the street for 9/11. I was there during the financial collapse. And, I spent my life in that industry. I don't think that the bailout should have happened. To my mind, you cannot become the next Goldman Sachs or AIG if you don't allow these institutions to fail. And, the only good point that I thought that Bush had in tonight's debate was about capital requirements for some of the investment banks. And I do agree with that. And I do agree that you cannot bail these institutions out the way that we did back in 2007. But where Cavuto was wrong is they started to get into the weeds, and Cavuto had said to Ted Cruz that what he was saying would leave, quote, depositors on the hook. And when you talk about retail banking, the majority of non-business accounts are well under $100,000, and even people who have tons and tons of money know how to protect their assets. So from a depositor's point of view, so long as the asset was up to the FDIC limit, those depositors were still going to be made whole, and that was an incorrect statement on Cavuto's part.
Yes, it was, and he should know better.
And I don't think it was any. I think they did a great debate. I don't think he was sloppy in his prep. I just think it was one of those things. Everybody's human, but he was wrong in that.
Right, but I mean, come on now. We're talking about Neil Cavuto. I mean, he should really know better than that.
He should, but this goes back to any candidate. I don't care whether it's Cruz or Fiorina or Rubio or Trump. I don't care who it is. All right, Cruz would have had the same home run moment that he had in debate 3 in debate 4 if he would have had at the ready to say to him, wait a minute, Neil, wait a minute. This is Fox business, and we just went through this with CNBC. Please, we cannot let the American people end on that because what you just said is factually incorrect. The depositors will be made whole. Now, shareholders, not so much. But, the depositors will be made whole. And I thought that was an opportunity for him to jiu-jitsu back.
Yes.
Speaking of jiu-jitsu, Grouchy, the chat room has a message for you. Tina says, that's not cool. Make your own damn sandwich.
Oh, and she's married to the guy with all the guns.
If Mama ain't happy, nobody's happy.
Ain't that the truth?
Tina, I would have never said that if my wife were actually here in the house. She and my daughter.
Very
tomorrow. Full disclosure, that was gag.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
if I had said that, it wouldn't be the sandwich coming around the corner at my head. It would be the knife that she would have used the mayonnaise on.
Oh.
Don't worry about it. It's a bigger knife than a mayonnaise knife. I'm just saying.
Here's a fun game. As you looked across the stage this evening, should
that
candidate not get the presidential nominee, what might you like to see them do in the administration?
Who are we to address first?
Well, let's start with Kasich.
Food taster.
JD.
Secretary of New Mexico Tourism.
There you go. Rick, do you have a vote?
For Kasich? Can we bring back Court Tester?
There you go.
Court Tester.
All right. Next, Jeb.
Oh, wait. Can I just change my answer on Kasich?
Mm-hmm.
I think Kasich should be a DJ at.
I'm at WKRP in Cincinnati.
He wouldn't even have to leave Ohio.
You sure it should be a DJ? I'm thinking more.
I don't know why I find this so funny at 12:30 at night. But could you see him and Lonnie Anderson's cans and Dr. Johnny Fever all coked out of his shoes? I'm John Kasich, and I'm here for making you happy. Get out of here, scumbag. I'm doing lines off the table, and I'm going to try to bang this broad if my schmeckle works.
Dear.
Okay. Jeb Bush, I got it. Okay, Jeb Bush should go to Hollywood and be the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man for the Ghostbusters reboot movie.
Oh, that's not a bad. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Wait, what was that?
Basically, he wants Jeb Bush to be the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in the new Ghostbusters movie.
For the Ghostbusters reboot movie.
Okay.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for this special episode of America Off the Rails and Game On with JD and Stacey crossover and mashup. Thanks to everybody who tuned in live and joined us for the post-debate discussion yesterday. Hope all of you that are listening on our affiliates now on this recorded broadcast have a great and wonderful Veterans Day. And thank a veteran today. Buy them lunch, shake their hand, do whatever you want to do. At this point, folks, that's going to do it. I'll be back with you tomorrow.